The scripture tells us in Daniel chapter 9, verse 27, "And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate." Now this prophecy by Daniel speaks of a covenant with many that brings about an abomination of desolation. Jesus said in Matthew 24, when asked about all of the different signs of his coming, like there shall be, take heed. He said, you're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars, and nation would rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there'd be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. And then all these things are beginning sorrows. Then you're going to have all this persecution of Christians and Jews and right on down the line. Jesus then said these words. He said, "And when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand." Of course, he's referring to the very prophecy that Daniel spoke of, which Daniel says is a covenant with many that brings about the overspreading of abominations of desolation. And Paul even mentions this in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, when he says the wicked one will be revealed, okay? When he'll stand in the holy place. And I'll read that for you right now as well. And then I'm going to give you the article I have on the prisoner release in Israel for the Palestinian prisoners. Here's what Paul said in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. He said, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." This is an abomination, folks. And this very abomination that Paul talks about in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, Jesus referred to it in Matthew 24:15, and Daniel prophesied it in Daniel 9:27. This is talking about a biblical covenant, a major milestone in the end times. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is a serious push to make this covenant happen in the very time we're in. And there's no question. John F. Kerry, the Secretary of State, set a time frame of 9 months to try to make this covenant happen. And we're in month number 4. Now, when the process began, remember, they hadn't been to the table in 5 years. And one of the prophecies the Lord gave me for this year of 2013, he gave it to me on New Year's Eve in a live broadcast, 12 prophecies, well documented at my website. And also, you can find the YouTube video where I go through all 12. One of them was that the peace agreement, the covenant, the Daniel 9:27 prophecy would begin being worked on this year, 2013. And that it had a 50-50 chance of even getting signed this year. But whether it gets signed this year or not, probably pushing into next year whenever, the key point was they would begin the process of working on it this year. That's the prophecy. Well, on July the 30th this year, they sat down at the table and begun. They're in their 4th month. But here's what happened. They released 26 prisoners, Palestinian murderers, Palestinian prisoners released and set free by Benjamin Netanyahu. And now this week he has released the second 26. He's agreed that if the agreement can come to a signing, that he'll release 104 in total, which is 104 holy books in the Muslim faith. So let me tell you what's going on. I want to thank Nick of New York. I had to give that all to you to set up this story. The Palestinian Authority in Judea and Samaria under Mahmoud Abbas, he's the president of the Palestinian Authority, is preparing to hold large-scale celebrations after Israel, under U.S. pressure as part of a purported peace process, has released 26 terrorists who were involved in horrific murders of Jews. The celebrations. Are you serious? I mean, it'd be like us just opening up Gitmo. Think how the Israeli people feel. It'd be like us opening up Gitmo and turning loose 26 radical Islamic jihadist terrorists that were part of 9/11, going around murdering Americans. How would the American public feel? Are you serious? Are you serious? What? Are you serious? It would be chaos in the streets. But look at the restraint of the Israeli people. Look at the trust of the Israeli people to give Benjamin Netanyahu this leadway to try to find a way to find some type of peaceable agreement with the Palestinians in the Arabic world. Now, the celebrations in Gaza, to which 5 of the terrorists was released, is more subdued because the deal is perceived as a political victory for Mahmoud Abbas and the Fatah movement. And Gaza is completely ruled by Hamas, who doesn't see eye to eye with the Fatah, which is their rival terror organization. Peace is not possible as long as there is even one terrorist prisoner still in the Israeli prison, Abbas declared at a welcoming ceremony for the 21 terrorists who had been released to Ramallah. And I was in Ramallah back in May when I was in Israel. And I'm thinking about that like, wow, I was just there. Imagine 21 of these terrorists being set free and the celebrations going on there. All 104 prisoners will be released, but the real joy will only come when all Palestinian prisoners are released. We undertake to continue the efforts, he said, to release all prisoners until they return to their homes. The Palestinian Authority is totally against the Israeli. Israel continues the unabated, and Israel's mainstream media appears more than happy to enable it. So what we have here is some people within the Israeli government that don't like this release at all. They don't want any deal at all. Benjamin Netanyahu is literally walking a tightrope. He has to deal with the internal struggles of the Palestinian people seeking a two-state solution. But at the same time, many of those that are within the Palestinian people want a total annihilation of Israel. And he has to deal with the other Arabic nations, 22 Arabic nations in the Arab League. And don't forget about Iran, that's only now 2 weeks away from having enriched uranium completed and the ability to begin building the nuclear bomb. Their enriched uranium will meet the level they need. In other words, the red line is getting ready to get crossed very soon. What does Benjamin Netanyahu do? How does he stop that? He could fly over there with his sorties and blow up the nuclear facilities of Iran. But do you do that when you're at the table halfway through a peace agreement with a covenant with many? Because this is not just between Israel and Palestine. This is between Israel, Palestine, two-state solution, giving up some of the land to the Palestinians, maybe even a sliver of Jerusalem, East Jerusalem. At the same time, it's also a covenant with the 22 Arabic leagues. What about Iran Do they agree to not build the nukes and bomb Israel? What about Russia? Do they sign it? America signs it. What about Britain and France, Australia and Canada, part of NATO? What about other Arabic nations? This is a covenant with many. This is not just two, many. So, what does Benjamin Netanyahu do? Even right now, 5 permanent members of the United Nations, plus Germany, are meeting with Iranian diplomats to try to come up with a solution to the Iranian nuclear power or nuclear weapon position. So in the middle of that discussion, does Israel smack Iran? Because Iran is ready to cross the red line. You got to ask yourself, and if they do, if Israel strikes Iran, then does the whole world turn on Israel? Does the whole world come against Israel? Well, if they do, it would be fulfillment of Zechariah 14, or at least Psalms 83, where all these nations become in confederate against Israel, conspiring against Israel. So we are living in very, very, very precarious biblical times. Are you serious? Something biblical is definitely going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. Give your life to Jesus Christ. We are running out of time. I'll be right back with more in just a moment.